Ford High School Weekly is brought to you by your Oklahoma Ford dealers. Ford is the best in Oklahoma. And by Rib Crib, smoking good stuff since '92.
Welcome to Ford High School Weekly. I'm your host, Deanna Mate. On this week's episode, we're talking to the Booker T. Washington boys basketball head coach, Eli Brown. Coach, how's it going?
Everything's going well, man. It's a busy time of year. Thank you guys for having me on. But it's good right now.
Man, we just got a chance to witness you and the Booker T. Washington Hornets take down that Jenks Union Invitational. How did it feel to get a win in that big tournament over there?
Oh, it felt good. I mean, Jenks is always, well coached with Clay Martin, and you had Union, who's well coached with Rudy Garcia, and so those two programs are known for good athletics and good coaching, and so beating those two teams on their floor is always a good thing for us.
Yeah, you got a stacked team over there this year, so we're looking forward to some great things on the future.
Sure. We just got to take it one game at a time, and we're trying to continue to get better each and every game and improve on the things that we need to improve on, and just stay the course. Keep the main thing the main thing.
I hear you, Coach. I hear you. So let's go ahead and take it back real quick into your coaching career. Go ahead and tell the people how you got started in coaching, as far as how it all began for you and where'd you play at and everything like that.
Well, I started coaching middle school ball back in 2005 at Madison, which is now Central Junior High, Madison Middle School. Spent a year there, then I went over to Nimitz, which isn't even open anymore. I was there for 2 years. Got to coach some unbelievable kids. We won a city championship there. Then I went to Carver for 3 years, Carver Middle School, and cut my teeth there. We won a few city championships there. And I became an assistant at Central under Kyle Cudjoe. And he did 1 year and, had to step away. And so they were looking for a coach, and I was there as an assistant, and it came down to two of us, and they chose the other guy over me. And I asked the principal at the time, Dr. Oliver Wallace, I said, well, hey, I know I didn't get picked, but is it possible for me to continue working with the kids so that, they don't lose ground? And he said, yeah, sure. And a few weeks went by, and I was working with the kids, and he called me in his office, and he said, I think I'm going to go with you. I'm going to change my mind and go with you. And that's how I got started, just being humble, accepting not being chosen, but continuing to work. That's all I've ever known. That's all I've ever done. And that was 2010 when I got that start at Central, and been coaching high school ball ever since.
So what was it like coaching over there at Central? How was it different from your place and current situation right now?
Well, Central was great. I mean, I won a state championship in 2015. Went to 6 or 7 state tournaments in 10 years. And, had many kids go play college basketball. So my time at Central was special. I mean, it allowed me to grow up as a coach and kind of improve my game as a coach. I had some really good kids that I loved working with. My administrators that I had while I was there were just so impactful on me that they helped me grow as a teacher, as a coach, and as a person. And Central was hard to leave. It wasn't easy for me to leave. And I'd say that, the difference in Booker T and Central is that I was able to go back home to my alma mater. And that's always been something I wanted to do. I just didn't know if it would ever happen or if, I would ever get the opportunity. So when the opportunity came, I was happy to try to go for it.
Speaking of your alma mater and you playing at Booker T. Washington, what was it like back in your day when you were tearing up the hardwoods?
Well, what's crazy is I only got to do 2 years because of my attitude. My junior year, I quit because I got into it with an assistant coach, and me and that coach, we talk to this day, but it cut my career short at Booker T. And what's crazy is my junior year is we won state that year, 99, and I didn't get to be a part of that. So I vowed when I finished high school that I was going to make an impact on basketball in some capacity. And when I got out of college, that's what I started doing. Started coaching, did some AAU stuff, and then, some junior high route, and then ended up the high school route. But my time at Booker T in the 90s, it was crazy, man. We won 4 years in a row not while I was there, but 2 before I got there and 2 while I was there. And so the 90s and the 80s were just insane. But, Booker T has always had a long-standing tradition of basketball excellence. I mean, there's about 33 state championships between the OSSAA and the OIAA and the OIAS, which are two organizations that we had to play in because we were a black school and couldn't play in the OSSAA. So we got 5 national championships. So our history in winning is very, very deep. There's over 36 Division I basketball players and 4 NBA basketball players and 2 McDonald's All-Americans, and so we have a long-standing tradition of winning and excellence when it comes to basketball. So I knew coming back home that the shoulders that I would stand on were immense, and Nate Harris won 10, 11 state championships, and so I mean that's hard to duplicate, and I think he won 4 in a row twice. So the 80s and 90s were just crazy with talent, and games were packed. We had to get there during the JV boys game if you wanted to get a seat, and that's what we want to bring back. If we can, we want to bring that back.
When Ford High School Weekly continues, we'll talk with Eli Brown about his coaching style.
Look at Eli Brown right there.
Ford High School Weekly is brought to you by Billy Sims Barbecue. It's not just barbecue, it's Boomer Q.
Welcome back to Ford High School Weekly. We're talking with Eli Brown, the head coach of the Booker T. Washington Hornets boys basketball team. So, Coach, you mentioned the incident that happened your junior year that made you, leave the team earlier before the state championship game. I kind of started to wonder, how does that experience help you coach some of these kids with your time being a head coach?
Well, it just allows me to be patient and understand that things will happen. And also, I'll tell you, the difference is when I was there, there was enough kids to where Coach Harris had 3 or 4 kids at each spot. So if a kid didn't do what he needed to do, or kid didn't act right or whatever, he could get rid of that kid and it not be a big issue. Well, now it's not as many to choose from like that. So you kind of got to be a little bit more patient, and you kind of got to be a little bit more understanding, and you got to kind of make sure that you kind of hear kids out sometimes.
So that leads me to my next question. I mean, we've had these discussions, and we gotten a chance to know what your background is. But what type of coach are you? What type of coach would you say you are?
I like to consider myself a player's coach, a coach that will, try to listen to his players and help his players along on the floor and off the floor. But also, I'll push you. I'm pushing. I'm challenging you. I'm going to ask you to do things that you thought you couldn't do because I know you can. And I also want to give you a little freedom out there. If you're defending, you get a little freedom offensively. Sometimes that hurts us, but it helps us to play the style that we have to play. And so I love to play fast. I love to be aggressive in you, disrupt you on defense. And just really, it's a fun way to play. It's a fun way to coach. And you also, in that regard, you play a lot more players. Instead of 5 or 6 players, we may play 10 every night. And so it gets a lot more kids involved, which is also always a good thing.
You mentioned the rich tradition over there at Booker T. Washington and how you have expectations. How does that, go into your day-to-day as far as a head coach, and even some of these players? Like, is there a lot of pressure on you guys to put on that orange, black, and white?
I don't think of it as pressure. I think of it as privilege, because we are at a place where lots of people would love to be at, coaching or playing. It is a lot to think about what came before you, but we also realize that the circumstances are a lot different now than they were 20, 30 years ago. And so you coach what you have, and you push what you have, and you try not to let the pressure seep in, and you welcome it and say, you know what, this is what you signed up for. And so this is what comes with being a Hornet and playing basketball, is great expectation. And there's nobody who has a higher expectation than I do. So it doesn't really bother me.
So do the guys from the past still come by and come check in on the program and kind of restore that tradition every now and then?
Yeah, from time to time they do, but a lot of our players, a lot of them have went on to play ball outside of the state. So a lot of them are living outside of Tulsa, and so it's hard for them to get back. But when they're here in town, they do stop by, and it's always great to have former alumni back and guys who've done great things within their uniform. And so we really enjoy having those guys back. Bryce Thompson has been back a few times, and it's always great to see him come back. And Trey Phipps as well. So some more of the most recent guys have come back, but we do get some old timers from time to time.
So what old timers get a chance to stop by and come check out a game or a practice or just come speak to the kids?
Yeah, we have guys like Fred Jones who played with Wayman Tisdale. He comes by often, very often, and we've had Melvin Gilliam come by. He was a two-sport athlete and went to OSU and played football and basketball at OSU, and guys like that. Antonio and Angelo Estes has come by. B.J. Brown has come by. So we had some guys come by, and it's really good to see those older guys come by and really, show their love for the program.
We'd like to offer our deepest condolences to the family and friends of Nathan Rogowski. The Deer Creek Antlers pitcher was headed to Oklahoma State on a baseball scholarship. Nathan died after a sudden illness. He was 17. Welcome back to Ford High School Weekly. We're talking with the head coach of the Booker T. Washington Hornets, Coach Eli Brown. Coach Brown, now we talked about the past and how you've gotten to this point in your career. Now let's talk about this season. We've got a chance to watch some of the Booker T. Washington Hornets boys take on some pretty tough competition, but they've seemed to fare well early in the season. What do you think about this team and its characteristics compared to teams in the past?
Well, this is probably one of the smallest teams Booker T has ever had. I don't have anybody over 6'3", and so we really have to force the tempo. We really have to get in you defensively, 94 feet, and we really have to shoot the ball pretty well in order for that to work because we're small. We don't get a lot of post options. And so we really have to take care of those little things like that, boxing out, rebounding, things of that nature. Whereas in the past, I mean, you had teams with 6'7", 6'8", 6'6", 6'4" at the point guard position, with 15 dudes who could go. And so since we don't have that, our off season has to be very, very stringent and tough and demanding in order for us to play this way throughout the season. And so that's what we try to do. And it's worked, you know, we're 14, 13, 14 and 1, I believe is what we are. But it's helped us to be able to play that way for 4 quarters, for 32 minutes. It's also helped us win those close games because we're still fresh at the end of the game and while the other team is a little tired. And so it's also a style that we may be the only team in our conference who plays this way. And so night in and night out, they see a different style. So when they play us, it's not something that they're used to. So that also helps us. And so we're going to continue to try to get better at it and perfect it over the years. And hopefully we can continue to win games this year and see what happens.
Now, if you're thinking and talking to your players right now, and I'm pretty sure you've mentioned this to them throughout practices and games, but what are some of the things that you guys need to improve on to go ahead and, reach that state tournament and get that gold ball?
I think we need to improve on late game, how we handle late game, time and score. We play so fast that sometimes in the late game we can go a little too fast at that point. I also think we need to shoot it better. Um, we also need to clean up our box outs. We do a good job of knowing the scouting report, who's who, and film watching and things of that nature. But it's also about applying that in the game, and we need to get better at that. But these are teenagers, and they tend to think a lot of the other things are more important than studying the game. And so, if we can continue to get better at that each game, then that will certainly bode well for us in March.
Coach, I mean, you guys have improved in my eyes big time as far as from the last time I watched you till I saw you this weekend. Hopefully that continues to move along and you guys actually get to that tournament and hoist that gold ball.
Man, that would be so such a surreal feeling if that happens, and that's our goal. I'm not going to be shy about it. That's our goal. I think that's every Booker T. Hornet alumni's goal and current student. That's their goal as well and their expectation. So we know that that's where we are, and we just want to get better at those things so we can do everything we can to make that a possibility and a reality.
So, Coach, what do you think Booker T. Washington basketball means to the student body?
I think it means a lot. Along with football, I think it means a lot to those kids and those administrators and those teachers. It means another step in the right direction in terms of success within the school. We have a lot of success academically. Our football team is still good, and so having a good basketball team adds to that. Um, Booker T is known for having success in a lot of areas, and so we, as the basketball program, we don't want to continue that success and uphold that success. And so it means a lot to the students and a lot to the teachers and administrators as well.
Well, Coach, I hope you guys continue on that successful trend and you guys push forward throughout the season and have continued success on that one as well, Coach. So thank you so much for joining us this evening, and good luck to the Booker T. Washington Hornets throughout the way.
Thank you, and thank you for having us, man. And we appreciate it and look forward to hearing from you guys soon.
Michael Knight joins us next with the breakdown of February signing day, right here on Ford High School Weekly. Welcome back to Ford High School Weekly. Well, it's that time of week once again. Michael Knight is here to talk with us about signing day that happened here recently. Michael Knight, how's it going?
It's good. Another signing day in the books. It was definitely a busy day, but happy to be talking to you.
How do you feel about the second signing day? I guess that's what we can call it now, the second signing day of the year for some of these kids and everybody deciding where they want to go the next level. How is the kind of the excitement of it?
There's definitely not as much drama as there used to be, just because most of the spotlight is put on the guys who are signing with Division I schools, and so a lot of that drama was settled back in December with the first signing day. But this is a great day for the majority of high school athletes in Oklahoma, because, I mean, you look at it, obviously not everybody's going to sign Division I, and we had so many kids on Wednesdays signing with programs all over the state, all over the country, at all different levels. So it was awesome to see some names that we've watched play football at the high school level for the last 3 to 4 years, realize their dreams of playing college football by signing on the dotted line.
So who were some of those kids who we might not be aware of but did get an opportunity to make that transition to the next level?
So some of the bigger names, we talked about it a little bit last time you and I spoke. Max Brown, Lincoln Christian, he signed with Florida. Davis Dotson, I mentioned OSU jumping in on him. The big Berry Hill offensive lineman, he signed with the Cowboys. Jace Gilbert, in my opinion, the state's best kicker. Kickers are recruits too. They get scholarships too. He ends up signing with Iowa State, and another offensive lineman, Will Thomas from Union, he signs with New Mexico State. One of the bigger storylines over the last couple of weeks was Gavin Freeman, a guy who's been committed to Texas Tech for a while, Heritage All-Star wide receiver. He ends up going to OU as a preferred walk-on, so turning down the scholarship to be a preferred walk-on at OU, and it's widely speculated that he's eventually going to earn that scholarship. And if you've seen him play, you believe it. I think he's the next Drake Stoops for OU's offense. And his dad, Jason Freeman, played at OU in the 90s, so definitely familiar with Norman. And then I mentioned it last time you and I talked, the smaller schools, the D2s here in state, they just are absolutely killing it. The University of Central Oklahoma has a really fantastic class in state once again. They got some absolute steals, especially at the linebacker position. Bixby linebacker Jack Puckett, in my opinion, one of the best linebackers in the state. He's heading to Edmond, and joining him is McAllister linebacker Chase Favors. So you talk about two linebackers who, from our publication, Prep Red Zone, they were first-team All-State linebackers. They're both headed to UCO. They also got a signing from Collinsville wide receiver Oscar Hammond, who I think is a freak. So UCO, NSU, Oklahoma Baptist, SWOSU, a lot of these schools really doing a great job recruiting in state with this 2022 class.
Yeah, I can't argue with you. I mean, maybe not to look too far ahead, but just to give people a little snippet of what's coming next in the 2023 class. Who's the main target on the horizon for most of these Division I schools now that you know how it is in college football? Once you get done, it's on to the next.
Oh yeah, there's no waiting. I mean, the 2023s, they're already started. In Oklahoma, it's a great class, man, and it's really deep as well. And there's talent everywhere at all positions, so it's going to be fun to watch. Luke Has from Bixby, the big tight end, he was committed to OU. Now he's committed to Arkansas. He's one of the top prospects. By Job, a defensive end from Community Christian down in Norman. He is a freak athlete. He was offered by Michigan earlier this week. And then a guy from Owasso, a wide receiver who's absolutely blowing up in the last several days is Cole Adams. Slot wide receiver, very similar to Gavin Freeman from Heritage Hall, but Gavin Freeman walked so Cole Adams could run, because Adams in the last couple of days has been offered by Alabama, Texas A&M, and LSU. So that goes to show you what type of guy you're talking about with Cole Adams. There's so much talent in this 2023 class. It has the chance to be really special on both sides of the ball.
Back by Burke. Direct snap to Presley, right side. Oh, it's Kirby up there helping block for him. He's got a first down and more. He's going to be
Be sure to go to yourview.com/OK for highlights and replays of the Ford Game of the Week. And check out our podcast and past episodes at yourview.com/OK.
Only the best in Oklahoma, like Booker T. Washington head coach Eli Brown, make it to Ford High School Weekly. So thank you for watching, and until next time, I'm Deon Amade.
Ford High School Weekly has been brought to you by your Oklahoma Ford dealers. Ford is the best in Oklahoma. And by Rib Crib, smoking good stuff since '92.